Hello there. Welcome. It's like this is Beauty Superstars Talk, your backstage pass to experts in beauty, and we've got some kind of little bug thing going on. Sorry about that. But my name is Miki Wright, and I'm your host and salon pricing strategist with beautysuperstars.com. I help overworked hairstylists confidently raise their prices and charge what they're worth. And so I want to thank you for joining us. And today we are joined by none other than Freddie J. She is a cutting phenom, an in-demand educator, a colorist, and fierce competitor. And she exemplifies legendary in the business in the beauty industry. And she is still on fire, setting trends and showing the youngins how to serve it up and take names. So I'm excited to have her here, and I'm excited to be here. It's like each and every week, I actually have the privilege to interview Black beauty bosses who are doing amazing things in the beauty industry. We give voice to their stories and celebrate their excellence while they drop nuggets to help all of us become better beauty pros and better entrepreneurs. So, more than a podcast, this is actually a movement. It's here to encourage Black excellence, entrepreneurship, to preserve our history, and to bring healing to our industry. So I want to thank our sponsor, which is the Luxury Hairstylist Blueprint, which gives hairstylists a three-step process to raise their prices and elevate their client experience in only 6 weeks. So if you'd like to know more, be sure to sign up for the next free webinar at beautysuperstars.com, and it's /level up. So if you are here for the first time, we want to welcome you. And if you are returning, we say thank you. So this month is actually dedicated to people who've been in the industry for a few years and are still rocking it. And we call them legendary. So we're going to sit down and break down what it takes to win in this industry, not just as a hustle, but actually as a career. So let me share Ms. Freddie J's bio with you, and then we will jump right into our conversation. So Freddie Jones, known as Freddie J, began her career in cosmetology in 1993 and became one of Dallas's premier hairstylists. Freddie attended some of the top hair design companies and academies in the country, such as Dudley, Pivot Point, and Tony and Guy, where she decided that her specialty would be haircutting. She now is now considered one of the industry's leading haircutting specialists and high fashion platform artists. Freddie J travels across the nation to trade shows and seminars, teaching and sharing information with licensed stylists. Freddie J is the founder and CEO of the International Hair Symposium, IHS, which it includes hair competitions and advanced training classes for stylists and barbers in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. In addition, she launched a series of educational DVDs, providing hairstylists with new and innovative cutting techniques. Her work has graced the pages of many national publications, including Essence and Hype Hair magazines. In 2002, she won the first place prize of $10,000 at the Bronner Brothers Hair Battle Royale in Atlanta, Georgia. In 2007, Freddie was chosen to compete in the Bronner Brothers Hair Battle 60th year anniversary celebration. Freddie is a national television personality. She was featured on the pilot season of the reality show Tears, Shears and Beauty on BET. She was also featured in the 2009 Chris Rock documentary film titled Good Hair. Freddie received special recognition from the city of Dallas and Mayor Tom Leppert in 2011 as being one of Dallas' leading businesswomen, stylist instructors, and trailblazers in the field of cosmetology. In 2013, at the Bronner Brothers International Hair Show, she placed third place in Trendz Tournament of Champions competition in Atlanta, Georgia. Freddie J believes that through education, perseverance, and hard work, one can accomplish anything you want. So, woohoo!
Thank you.
You have had such a fantastic career. And I always like to just start, like, how did you get started in beauty?
Well, that's a good question, and thank you so much, Miki, for inviting me. Um, I was doing other work. I had went to college, left college, and trying to find myself and what I really wanted to do, and did several things. And I don't know. I just one day said, well, I wanted a restaurant because I love to cook. And I thought, well, I see all my friends that are making all this great money doing hair. So maybe I'll go make money and do hair and make money and then open my restaurant. Well, we know that it doesn't work that way quickly. So I started doing hair. My sister did hair and some of my friends. So I went to cosmetology school and I absolutely loved it. Before that, I thought I can never work with these women. I am not going to work on women all day. And now I love working on women all day. So that's how I really got started. It was kind of a fluke. It wasn't something I grew up doing. I didn't do hair at the house growing up.
Right.
I didn't do hair in school. I didn't do hair when I went to college. I never did anybody else's hair but mine. And I went to beauty school and I loved it. Absolutely loved it.
Yeah. Did you find that you had like kind of a natural talent for it, or it kind of took some putting pieces together for you?
I think part was a natural talent. I think mostly cutting because I was an artist. When I was a kid, when I was 8, 9, 10 years old, I could sketch people and had balance. And, I drew this little thing in the TV guide. I know some of you don't know what I'm talking about, but they had these little pictures and you would draw it and I sent it in and then they sent something back. And when I graduated high school, I left the next day to go to Oklahoma State. And actually somebody from the Art Institute came to my house to offer me a scholarship to the Art Institute. But of course, my counselor at school kind of brought me to the awareness that, painting is like singing, some make it and some don't. And I really wanted to be an artist, but, I went to school, so I was going to teach and coach, teach art or whatever. But anyway, that didn't happen. So I think the cutting part and balance was kind of natural to me, with hair cutting. But some of the other things, no, I'm not that great at. But the cutting part, I was pretty good.
Okay.
Like the finger waves, I'll always get backwards because I'm left-handed. So
okay. Yeah, I couldn't get finger waves until I got to the point where I was like ready to throw my mannequin at the wall and in frustration. And I took a break so I wouldn't throw it at the wall. And when I came back, I could actually move my hands in that way. I was like, oh my gosh, this is it's a little rugged. Yeah. Well, it sounds like you are an artist, so it's like you did fulfill that part of your
mm-hmm.
your natural talents. And so what was it like moving through school and getting into the salon? You said, things didn't start popping, quickly so you could open your restaurant. What was that like?
Well, when I first started doing hair, school was fine. I went part-time because I was working and getting through school was okay. I kind of stopped for a minute and then I went back and got my license. But at the time I was working for another company. So I did hair part-time. And then I started assisting my hairstylist. And it was a salon full of men. And one of them was an educator. Russell Smith was an educator with Dudley Products at the time. So I and I finally, I got my license, started doing hair, and I finally started doing hair full time, and I started working with those guys, which was great. But it took a while to build a clientele. I actually did it part time for about a year and a half, and then I went full time. I think in '95, I was licensed in '93. I think I went full time in '95. So, and then I got ill in '97. So I took off I was off a year and a half. So, it was kind of a struggle really getting started. I was getting started and then that happened. I had cancer and then I came back. So, it was a little struggle from the beginning.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we're so glad that you're well and that you've
Yes.
been able to bless us all these years. So yeah, thank God for that.
Mm-hmm.
And so how did you get, from there, coming back, rebuilding clientele and that type of thing to where you are now, with teaching all over the country, if not the world, and it's like cutting and coloring and styling and competing. It's like you've like done everything.
Uh-huh. Well, before I started doing hair, my sister is a designer. So we used to do fashion shows. And so when I kind of saw the fashion and the hair all together, then I started doing hair shows and put the fashion with it. My sister and I, did some shows together. And the guys that I worked with taught me so much. And then I started going to Dudley Products to take classes. So it all just kind of fell together. And then I've always been a hard worker. So I like doing my best. And I had some really good guys who helped me out. You know, my first mentor, Linnell Brown, he was really good. He used to work with, I think, a TCB or someone. And he really helped me in the beginning because he was my stylist. Also, he was my mentor in the beginning. So that helped. Russell Smith. And then I started going to classes at Dudley. And that all really propelled me, you know, being around those kind of people. It's really who you're around. You know, I think you're a product of your environment if you let it soak in. And I did because it was a good thing. And, you know, started going to classes and it just all just happened. And then I liked, you know, I was an athlete, so I'm a competitive person. And I really compete with myself. So I always like to do better than I did in the last track meet or the last basketball game or the last softball game. So, you know, I kind of did a lot as far as being an athlete. So I was a natural competitor and, you know, then I was creative too. So it all just kind of worked together.
Yeah, yeah. Now some of your battles are like really legendary. So, so tell us about, you know, I think there was one. Was there something where you were underwater cutting hair or something along that line?
Right. That was the Chris Rock, the documentary.
Okay.
Um, I, well, you know, my other mentors, of course, you know, I remember you from back in the day, Barry Fletcher, and I was coming in and I was like, oh, these guys are great. And I remember going to some of the competitions, Floyd Kenyatta, when he had the wedding dress and it went up in the air and he came from underneath. The Detroit guys, I just remember those competitions so well when I was getting into the industry and I was like, wow, I want to do some of those one day. And I noticed that every time Barry was in a competition, he would cut hair different or do something different. And I said, you know, if I ever compete and I start competing, I want to cut hair a different way every time. So I would try to think of different ways that people would remember me. It was just all about, you know, advertising and having a good time and cutting hair different. It was just a challenge to me to be different. So, you know, I had been in competitions, and then when they called me about that competition, I had already about a year before, I was like, what am I going to do in the next competition I'm going to be in? And I was talking to a girlfriend at the salon and I said, I don't know what I'm going to do. You know, I cut hair with the girl hanging upside down. I cut hair with the lady swinging on the swing. And, you know, that's when I won the competition. And then I cut hair, but they were in boxes and I couldn't see them. And I cut their hair through the boxes. I was like, what can I do next? So I went to the shampoo bowl and turned on the water. And I was like, cut hair underwater.
Okay.
I was like, how am I going to ever do that? So that's how that came about.
Okay. Yeah, I think some of the most creative things come from just like, you know, that process. And then it's like, ding.
Right.
Yeah. So how did you even execute that? I mean, to come up with the idea is one thing, but then how do you?
Well, so when I decided that, excuse me, when I decided that, it was, excuse me, my allergies. When I decided that, it was probably a year before that I had thought about that, you know, and then when the competition came up, I said, gosh, I'm going to cut hair underwater. And I wanted to actually do it on stage. So I started thinking, okay, how am I going to get a water tank full on the stage? And how am I going to make that happen? So, of course, when Mamie had called me, Mamie Bell was over the competitions then at Bronner. So when she had asked me about it, I knew that the underwater thing was what I was going to do. I'll tell you my allergy. Excuse me.
Sure. I get a little water too.
So I I asked Mamie, would I be able to have a water tank full of water that I could get in and cut the model's hair? And she was like, I don't know. We're going to have to ask. I think it was Fred, whoever the stage guy was. And the competition was going to be at where they built the stage and not the one with the concrete floor. So they said I couldn't do it. I was like, oh, man. So how am I going to do this? So some people don't even know. I think they think I was in a water tank at the actual time, and I don't want to. I want to break anybody's heart. You know, there was people that came to my table the next day at Bronner and like asked me, "Were you really underwater?" Or you know, but I actually filmed it. And it was put on the screen, and I went behind the plexiglass and acted like we were underwater, but it actually showed on on a DVD where I was underwater. So I rented a water, what is it, the Dunkin' booth?
Okay.
I rented a Dunkin' booth from one of the rental places about 3 or 4 times, and the model and I actually got in the water, and I would practice on cutting her hair until we got the right footage that we needed. So
Okay.
I think I rented that Dunkin' booth. It was about $150. You know how you spend money on these things. So I can't even swim actually, but it was enough water in there, and I would go underwater and try to cut her hair and figure out how I was going to do it. So that's how we did it. And we filmed it. My videographer put it on film for us, and that's how we actually did it. We did it prior to.
Okay, amazing though. Yeah, just the creativity to think of it, and then to think of like, okay, well, I can't do it that way. How do I do it another way so that we can
Mhm.
actually make that work? And so it's phenomenal. And it's like, I think I remember the one where the model was upside down and you were cutting her hair. So that's, yeah, you really set the bar very high for all the
it,
competitions. Yeah.
it's been a lot of fun. It's been a
Yeah.
lot of fun.
Yeah. Well, definitely congratulations on all your wins.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. And tell us like about the educating part, because that's something, I mean, there weren't necessarily a lot of women educating, when I started, for sure, when you started. And how did you start educating? How did you, take it to a national level, and what keeps you fueled to keep going?
Well, I really, and it's fun. It's a long story, but after I was sick, I had cancer in '97, and I had emergency surgery, found out I had ovarian cancer. So I had to have chemo for like 6 months.
Hmm.
Before that, I had attended Dudley Products in '95, right after I had started doing hair full time, just for the advanced training class, because Dudley Products used to have a university called DCU. So my sales rep and also Russell Smith, said that I should go. So I was about education. I wanted to get more and more. I really wanted to get into this industry, and I wanted to know the ins and the outs, and I wanted to learn more. So I definitely felt like education was the way to go. And the people around me, that's what they encouraged. So I went to Dudley in '95. Of course, then I came back in '97. I had cancer. And then Mr. Dudley actually came to town for a seminar. And I went, and they actually had me up talking that day. And I remember Terry Clausen, they had me to get up and talk. And I'm like, wow, why do these people want me to talk? And Mr. Dudley, my hair had kind of started growing back. I had a short afro. And Mr. Dudley was like, I think you look like you've been through something. He didn't even know who I was or anything. And so, and when I got sick, though, the only thing I did was lose my hair. I didn't lose weight. I didn't look scrawny. I actually gained weight and, looked really good. And I didn't really get sick or anything. It's just I lost my hair.
Hmm.
But it was growing back. People couldn't really tell that I had been sick, but he did, and he started talking to me and asked me my story, and I told him. And so they asked me to come up and tell my story, and I was like, oh my goodness.
Okay.
So of course, if you know anything about Mr. Dudley, he's always going to want you to tell your story, because he said it's not for you, it just helps other people, and you need to help by helping other people, you tell them what you've been through, because a lot of people are going through things. So anyway, I started going to Dudley Products for classes. And then after I was sick and I came back, my girlfriend had started working for Dudley Products. So they were getting ready to have EMS, and she called me Educational Motivational Symposium. She was like, girl, you got to come to this class. I said, girl, I just came back and started doing hair. I don't have that many clients, and I don't have any money to do that. And she was like, well, you really got to come. You got to figure out, you got to go ahead and buy your airline ticket, and then you can start paying for your room. My friend was Carbon Logan. She was like, girl, you got to come. And I'm like, what am I supposed to do now? I started thinking, if God could bring me through, my cancer experience. I just got back in the salon after a year and a half. I said, I got to do something, because, I have a few clients, I had about 6 or 7. So when they would come in, everybody else be working. I'd work on mine for about 3, 4 hours, just one person to act like I was busy. Right. So I was like, I got to do something because I got to get back in the swing of things and get more clients. So I was like, I'm going to go. As soon as I said that, my phone started ringing and I started booking clients. I was like, I got to think positive about this thing. You know, I had cancer. I came through that, had all the faith I'm supposed to have. Then you got to know you can get clients if you can, God can bring you through that. So, you know, clients start calling. I called her. I said, I got some money to pay down on my class, you know. So I ended up going to EMS, and that's when they had their introductory class to master cutting. And Patrick, Bradley, and Amos Jordan were teaching the class, and D Clay, actually. And I loved it. It was like a 2-hour class at EMS. And then they're going to start the pilot class in November. This may have been September. So I went and took master cutting, the first master cutting class that they had at DCU. And I guess the rest is history, because Amos said, you know, seems like you should be teaching, you know, or something like that. So after that, I started assisting in classes and I started teaching for Dudley Products. And haircutting was just one of those things. I went to some of Barry's classes. Then I went to Tony and Guy, which is based here in Dallas, for like a 5-day class. And then after that, I started educating a lot for Dudley Products, traveling all over the country, educating. And then after a while, other companies started, you know, calling me, and I would work for other companies, but I would only do the haircutting portion. I wouldn't, you know, try to sell their products because I was working with Dudley Products. So, you know, I kind of did them hand in hand. I started working for Bronner, going to Bronner and teaching classes there too, as I worked with Dudley Products. So it just all happened.
Yeah,
Just came
yeah.
together.
That's beautiful. It's like, I'm sure you have blessed somebody with your whole story. Just, you know, it's like, definitely if God can bring you through that, it's like
Right.
he can get you some clients in your chair, right?
Right. Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. And yeah, it sounds like, you know, the whole teaching thing is like, what would you say to someone that is like, that's what I want to do? You know, what would you suggest as a starting point for them?
Well, I would suggest that, you know, if you want to educate, you definitely have to get educated first. And I think that is something that's missing in some of the education that we have today. And it's nothing wrong with showing someone something that you do well. But I think what's missing is the technical side of everything. That there's a technical side to everything we do, whether it's styling, cutting, coloring. So I think that we should learn the technical. And I say that because our industry seems to be changing, going down a different path. And education, you know, formulas and principles are behind everything that we do. And I think we're losing that because of some social media is good in some aspects and some aspects is not. But there is a cause and effect for everything that we do. And I believe that everything should have the technical side to it first, and then you show the creative side. So to me, merging the technical and the creative makes you a much better educator, because you have a foundation to build on, instead of just saying, you know, I curl the hair this way and I curl the hair that way, instead of saying it's on base, off base, or half base, to
Right.
make it full, to make it down. So not just in cutting, not just in coloring, but also in styling. There's a cause and effect for everything that we do. And I think that we need to get back to the textbook. So if there's something that you want to teach that you do, go back to your cosmetology book or go to some classes and learn. You know, you can have your own system, which is what I'll be teaching, is using a systematic approach. Even if you create your own system, create it based on the principles and the foundation of whatever it is that you do. So that's the best advice I can give, is building on a solid foundation, and not just because you can do waves well and you don't teach the technical part, or because you can do color well and you don't know color formulas, you don't know the color wheel.
Right.
We gotta start getting back to that, because this industry is dying. They want to deregulate the industry because they think we're just doing hair, and they actually don't know that cosmetology book. I just recently went to get my instructor's license, which has been deregulated in the state of Texas. That's another whole nother story. But I went, and I Dudley Products basically takes you through an instructor course, you don't get your instructor's license, but because they had a university, we were able to educate. And they were very strict. They, Dudley Products had schools, and they still have some schools and everything. So we were able to teach different places because we had been through Dudley Products. But some people just go out and start educating, and they haven't been through a system, or create a systematic approach. So that would be the first thing that I would say. Some of you can go to get your instructor's license, and the things that I learned during that course would even make me a better educator than the things that I learned at Dudley. But you put all that together, and you have a foundation. Some of us just get out there and we just start teaching here, and there's no foundation built underneath. And so I think that we need to say what kind of educator we are, if you're creative, or I think that there needs to be a separation, because some people aren't teaching technical. They're just showing you show and tell. They're just showing you how to do something. So, get the foundation and teach on that solid foundation instead of just, pulling the hair up and cutting it. There, lines, points, and angles, everything that we build starts with lines, points, and angles. And people don't know that. They don't know the parts of the shears. I have taught all over the country, and probably 2 people have told me 8 parts of the shears of 14, however many you want to say it is. But we don't even know what parts the shears are used for. And it's just, it baffles me. And some educators have told people, well, that's not important. You just cut it, or you just pull it out here or pull it out there, where there's parts of the head also. So we're definitely are missing the technical. So whatever you do, get the technical part down, and then put your creative to it, and it'll make you a much better educator.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think the formula you just laid out for us, it really just makes you unstoppable, because it's like you can answer, any question that comes up. People learn in different styles, whether they learn from hearing or seeing or what have you.
Right.
So if you
Exactly.
just are showing something, a lot of people are lost,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, without that technical piece. So yeah, thank you for that. I think that will definitely help someone who's thinking about it, to get
Mm-hmm.
foundation so that they can have the longevity. Because, now, like you say, there's a lot with social media, and like you have a lot of followers, and so, oh, we'll want you to come in and teach, but you don't even know how to teach, and so,
Right.
and doing something is different than teaching the same thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, that was really powerful to hear. And I think definitely everything starts with a good foundation if it's going to last.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like you say, the hairstyles, the cutting, the coloring. And with your career, you said the cutting came really naturally. Where did the coloring start to fit in? Because you are a fantastic colorist as well.
Well, um, you know, I really, with a color placement now, I know the color wheel, but as far as being a colorist and teaching cutting, coloring, I don't teach color,
Mhm,
because I haven't had a lot of advanced training classes on coloring.
mhm,
I just color, um, by learning from other people. I've taken color classes, and then if I have color questions, I may call someone, but I believe in stay in your own lane. Now, I
mhm,
do color. My clients think I'm a color specialist, and, I fake it sometimes, or I have to call somebody and say, well, how do I get this out? Or what do I do with this? So I don't put in the books that I'm a colorist.
mhm,
I just say I color hair. I know how to get red out. I know how to get green
mhm.
out. I know how to, balance the colors and things like that. But as far as educating on color, I'm not a color educator. You know,
Right,
I
right.
just I just love color. So, when I know color placement, but as far as formulas and all that, that's not my thing. I'm
Okay.
gonna send you to some of my people. You know, I was asked to do a color class at Bronner one time, that was the only thing they had left, because I didn't turn my thing in to do a cutting class. And I actually called a color specialist to come in, Akia Neal, to come and assist me in the class. Because, like I said, when I did a DVD on color, I did a DVD on color placement. So
Mhm,
I make it clear. I stay in my lane. So
mhm,
I wasn't going to tell you that I know all the formulas and all that. So Kia Neal came and assisted me, and it was a wonderful class. because she could answer the technical questions and I did the creative part.
Okay. Yeah, and I think that's really important for people to hear as well, that it's like you don't have to be a colorist per se to be able to, do a certain level of color in your
Yes.
salon. And
Hmm.
from my, research or what have you, it sounds like you use the color to enhance the shape,
Exactly.
enhance the cut.
Exactly.
And I
Hmm.
think that always just really makes it pop, when you add that next layer of color. So
Right.
yeah, yeah, but learn all you can, but you don't have to be, this, high level colorist to be able
Exactly.
to.
Exactly. I think that, going to the classes and things and learning, then I know where to put what, and I know how I want to enhance that cut. So anytime you do a cut, you really want to enhance it with color. So, just go and learn as much as you can. But if you're getting ready to teach it, then you definitely need to take it to the next level and
Mhm.
get more technical with it.
Right, right. Yeah, and there's a lot to learn with both. It's like
Yeah.
last month we did people who are known for their cutting and coloring, and it's like there's even to get really proficient in one area is a lot, and so
Right.
to really
Exactly.
be both is a lot. On
Yes.
top of that. Yeah, and like you said that you started, with Dudley and kind of went on to different other companies and that type of thing where you would do teaching. But what have you seen through the years in terms of education evolving, beyond, us needing more, the educators needing more technical things? It's like, are there trends or are there things that hairstylists are having trouble grasping or getting? Because I think there's always or not always, but many times a disconnect between, learning, cutting, and that type of thing. So do you see different things that stand out to you about where we are as far as being proficient in cutting?
Okay. Well, I see that at sometimes I think there's a disconnect between actually the Caucasian industry or others in the industry, and when you get African American hair cutters, we sometimes, and I'm not going to say everybody as a race or one person knows better than the other. It's just that I don't think we take it uh, as serious sometimes as others do. Um, but I think there are problems when anybody is cutting hair, but when you're looking at certain companies that teach hair cutting, that the foundation is hair cutting, they're teaching step by step, and they're teaching, lines, points, and angles. They're teaching what's in the cosmetology book. Really, they're not creating anything different. Most of it's in our books, in our Milady book or Salon Fundamentals, and we just kind of pick up hair and cut it. I see that because Instagram and Facebook, because somebody makes something look good, then we think that they're a hair cutting specialist, and they're really not, because they probably don't know the parts of the shears. They just they get there, and I think people think that it's okay if they just get there. Then it doesn't matter whether they know the parts of the shears or whether they did it proper or anything like that. So I really see the industry changing as far as that goes, and even as color. I've heard some of my color specialists and color educators talk about how people just put color on, just slap it on, put it on, or whatever, and we call color, uh, lightening the hair. All that's color, when there are the other types of color.
Mhm.
Permanent color, demi-permanent, not just lightener. So I think it's changing, and um, I think that that's really why they want to deregulate the industry, because they think that it's just anybody can do it. Because when we're doing it out there and we're giving all this information away free, I think to the public, I think that, that's why the senators, that's why the people think, oh, well, let's deregulate this industry because anybody out there can do it. And we should allow anybody off the street to come and do hair, because they just doing it like someone off the street. They're not using the technical that they learned in the book. You would think that some of these people that went to cosmetology school and learned, horizontal line, diagonal. They don't use any of that. Some of these people that we are sensationalizing on Facebook and Instagram, and they're supposed to be licensed stylists, they're not using any foundation, as far as cutting, coloring, or anything. They're just doing it. And it's making it look like anybody can do it because you're just doing it. We talk about cutting. We don't say cutting at the occipital bone, or we don't say at the back of the head, at the apex of the head, or, high temporal or anything like that. We just say, pull it out here. Well, sometimes I make the joke that I could teach a blind person to cut. If I can teach you the parts of the head, right, and I say, pull it out at the occipital bone, or I say, pull it out right at this parietal ridge, or the crest line, which is the widest portion around the head, they don't use any of that. Because most of them pull out the hair below the crest line and they cut it short all around here. And then they just pick it up and cut it a little bit there. And then they curl it up. I mean, that's okay. It looks wonderful because they can style like crazy. But we're not using the foundation. We're not using lines, points, and angles. We're like builders. We're like wonderful builders, but we don't even use the things that builders use. We're like architects of cutting. And we just pull the hair out and cut it wherever it is on the head and curl it up, and we're done. And don't get me wrong, it looks beautiful. They work it out, but there's just no foundation to it. So I just think deregulating the industry, it's probably going to happen with all the other things, not to speak of all the other things that we're doing to the hair, or, not taking care of the hair. You wouldn't know that we've all been using barbicide. Well, probably 85% of us have been using barbicide. We've been disinfecting our implements. Barbers, one of the senators here in Texas that was trying to deregulate the industry said, I cut my son's hair. But what if you had to cut 10 people's hair? Would you know how to disinfect? So they don't know the book. They don't know that we have this huge book we go through and we learn all of these things about communicable diseases and ringworms and just everything, and about chemicals and sodium hydroxide and calcium hydroxide. They just don't know that we know all of these things because that's not what we talk about when they're in the salons or when we're anywhere. We talk about what we did last night. And, we have dumbed down our industry, and that's why they don't respect us as professional stylists and barbers and beauty industry people, because we dumb it down, and this is what we get. Yeah. And we wonder why this is what we get.
Yeah, I mean, I think you are so right. It's reminding me of a post that I saw in, I think, a Facebook group of, professional hairstylist Facebook group, where someone used, some type of terminology, and I don't remember what it was, but there were like 80% of the posts were like, well, why would you say something like that? Or why would you use that language? It's like, people don't understand that, and this, that, and the other. I'm like, everything that you do has a vocabulary that goes with it. And everything, it's like, you don't hear doctors dumbing down their procedures. When they talk to each other as professionals, they're talking in real terminology, and typically they'll tell you the terminology and then they'll break down what it actually means.
Yes, exactly.
Because they really understand what they're doing. They understand, that it's like, this is something that we need to know at a certain level, and you need to understand it at a certain level. And so we're going to be able to bridge that gap because we're the professionals and we're the ones who know. And I was just appalled that so many hairstylists were like, we don't need to say it like that because people don't understand. It's like, no, we do need to say it. Right. Like you say, you're holding your shears correctly, understanding the shears, understanding the parts of the head shape, because that's what makes cutting difficult, is that it's on a round surface, not on a flat surface.
Exactly.
And then, it's like you say, they can make it look good now, which has always really been the case. But what happens to the lady 6 weeks from now? Hair has pieces coming out and over here, and well, I don't know what to do with it. So I just put a hat on, or it's like, maybe I should get a protective style because I don't know how to handle this because it doesn't have any shape in it.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Exactly. And I say that all the time. Doctors, my doctor didn't come in and say, well, you have ovarian cancer. They came in and said, you have squamous carcinoma. And I'm like, what is that? And I had
Okay,
a
right.
skin cancer in my ovaries. So they break it down into layman's terms, but we don't use a professional term and break it into layman's terms. I was teaching one time and this girl asked me, well, why do you use that? And why do you say that? And I said, because this is what it is. Then we break it down to our clients in the layman's terms. But as professionals, we should know, what produces what, why I'm saying natural fall or why I'm saying, shifted or modified. We don't use it. And we don't use it, if we educate our clients more, then then they're always going to come back to us. We don't educate them. So they can go to some unlicensed person, whether they're in a salon or at home or whatever. They can go to an unlicensed person and they can do their hair just as well as we can. But what is that different thing that we have? We have education. That's why we spent the time going to school. So why wouldn't you use it? I don't know. It baffles me. But,
Yeah.
I love hair and I love this industry and I love learning and educating and sharing with others to grow, and have longevity and to be professional. And
Hmm.
we just, we don't treat it as that. Some of us make as much as doctors and lawyers and stuff like that, but you would never know it. It's like just a hustle for us. You know, we don't treat it as it should be treated. And that's why people look down on us like we're
Hmm.
just a hairstyle. Oh, she just a hairstylist.
Right. Right.
You
But
know,
it's like if people really understood what we needed to know to be able to do what we do, not
exactly.
only just one style, on everybody all day long, but all different types of personalities, all different types of hair textures, hair loss. It's like chemicals. It's like when you get into color and formulating and that type of thing, it's like you have to know something to be able to
Mhm.
to do
Exactly.
that, and particularly in the black industry, to be able to do color and keep the hair on the head. And it's like to be able
Exactly.
to create shapes that look good, not only today when you leave the salon, but to be able to have a great shape where you're still getting compliments, 4 or 5, 6 weeks down the road. And just it makes me think, like you were talking about the book, and we need to go back to our Milady book, or
Right.
whatever book it was that we used, that there's so much, wealth of information that's in there.
Mhm.
Especially now, it's like they're really updated, and
Right.
they have a lot of very authentic authorities that are doing some of the writing and contributing and
Right.
that type of thing to it. So there's some really good stuff. But some years ago, it's like I interviewed Charles Gregory, who became like I guess for a reference, Medea's hairstylist, head of Tyler Perry's
Yeah.
studios with hair, and he was talking about certain things, and I was like you're quoting that like exactly out of the cosmetology book. He's like, yeah, I study my book all the time, and
Wow.
it's like I can tell because it's like I'm hearing,
Mhm.
like I've heard this before,
Right. Right.
and people would say, it's like, well, of course he's studying. It's like he's the head of Tyler Perry Studios, for hair. But it's like, no, it's like the other way around. He's the head because he's studied.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. He was phenomenal. One of my mentors also loved him.
Yes. Yes. It's like I'm
Mhm.
still saddened, but he
Yeah.
definitely left a really rich legacy in
Yes.
so many ways. So yeah. But
Mhm.
yeah, it's like the book, and what other resources or even sources of creativity do you use to, kind of keep yourself excited and energetic about the industry?
Well, I always look at what the trends are. Look at what the trends are. Look what the stars are wearing. And I focus more on hair. I don't do extensions. I don't do braids. I don't do um, natural hair a lot. I'll silk press or with natural hair. But basically, I kind of stay with relaxers, natural hair, silk presses, color, cutting. So I kind of stay there. I never really got into doing extensions and stuff like that. but I try to keep up with what the young people are doing so that I can stay, relevant in the industry. So I'm always trying to learn, more of what's going on, what's the trend, what's coming up, so I can kind of stay ahead of the game and not just fall into doing the same old thing. You definitely have to get from behind that chair and travel and move around. And I know it's been hard right now, but taking classes, just because I'm an educator doesn't mean, I don't take classes. I always use Premiere, to go to that show. And I went to Vegas, to do different shows and not educate so I can go to different classes and see what's going on in the industry. Keeping up with the other folks in the industry and not just the African American industry. I like seeing, going to their classes and seeing what's going on as far as that goes, even though I mostly educate, my African American community, because I want to provide excellence for my community, for us to step it up, where we are, to step it up and be the best that we can be and not be looked down on and let, the other races say, well, they don't do this or they don't do that. I want to keep us informed on what's going on in hair cutting.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's fabulous. It's like we definitely appreciate your expertise and your excellence and everything that you bring to it. And you're speaking about trends and that type of thing. I don't know if you got to see any of the images from the Met was last night, as we're sitting here, and I was just blown away. I was like, forget fashion. It's like the hair and makeup just took over. And it's like the styles were incredible. It's like it's really, really set the bar high for our industry, and a lot of really talented Black artist, is excited to really see us shine in that way.
Oh, definitely. I saw a few clips from it, but I didn't see it, but I will definitely be looking. But yes, definitely always looking at what's going on, what's trending and what the stars are doing,
Right,
because it's really already always based on what they were doing, what
Yeah.
Rihanna's haircut is and what, what the styles are.
Right, right.
Yes,
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah. But we're doing some fabulous things in the industry. So tell us about your new salon. Like you.
So I moved to a different space, and I'm in the salon. It's actually a makeup studio. My makeup artist has been my makeup artist for years. That does my models all the time. I actually moved in a suite with her. She has a storefront now, Mocha Cosmetics and Skincare, and so I'm the only hairstylist in here with her. There's an esthetician, her niece, and her and I, and just really excited about this opportunity. When I'm doing makeovers, sometimes I can put the makeup on, but gosh, I'm right here with her now. So that's really, really exciting, so that we get to share with one another. So just glad to be working with her. And we're probably going to try to do some phenomenal things in the city, continue, just to raise the bar and take it to the next level.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So have you been doing like photo shoots as well?
We haven't really done anything yet. We really just got moved in, and then, traveling, when I can settle down a little bit, then we'll start doing more.
Okay.
I haven't done anything. I've done a few models, getting ready for something coming out really, really soon.
Oh.
Been working on it with Chris Bond, my marketing guy and branding. So I've been working with him, and we're making a few changes. I might be coming out with a few products and things like that. So I got some things cooking, that'll be hitting really soon. And excited about that. Really excited. I got to keep going and keep staying up, trying to keep up. So got some things coming out new, probably in the new year. You'll see them popping up. Yeah. And excited about Impulse Summit is this weekend. So I guess it'll be the first. Oh no, we did Muffin Moses, but Impulse Summit with Micheline is coming up this weekend. So glad to be, on the road and trying to be safe, wearing mask and you got to have a COVID test or the vaccination. So, trying to keep it safe, and excited about, seeing people, at a distance, but, back out there educating again, because people are hungry and people have been kind of, cooped up a little bit. So people are ready to get some education. So
Yeah. Yeah, that should be exceptional. It's like I got to meet with Micheline and just see the whole show lineup. It's like, wow, it's
Yeah. Hmm.
it covers the gamut. So
Right.
yeah,
Exactly.
it's nice to hear about, more in-person
Right.
events that are opening up.
Hmm. Oh, yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Hopefully we can get back to almost normal. But I know this is a new normal, but
Yeah.
it
Yeah,
may.
we are hoping and praying. And
Yes.
so tell us about your show, the International Hair Symposium. Is that
Yes.
it? Okay.
So basically back, I started doing a show every year, and then after the 10th year, then I stopped, but I started back up a couple of years ago. And of course, last year we went virtual when we did it.
Okay.
And just started doing the shows so that I could, help to educate people in the beauty industry in this area. And then people would come in from out of town. So, I started educating and started bringing educators in, Micheline and Patrick and all of those have been here for my shows. So basically, and then I had a competition also. There was a competition and then educational classes. So I did that for about 10 years, took off from doing it for a minute, and then started back a couple of years ago. So just trying to provide education in this area. So last year I was going to go do it in Houston, but of course, like I said, we had to go virtual. So
Mhm.
just trying to uplift and educate, as much as I can, bringing people in that, some of these people may not be able to travel or go different places. So they would come to the classes and stuff like that. So just trying to make, raise awareness, motivate people, educate, just all the things to help this industry continue to thrive.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I love, having regional shows and things, and even the virtual has kind of opened the door for a lot of people who may not have ever
Exactly.
traveled to some of the bigger shows.
Mhm.
Yeah. So are you planning for 2022?
I'm not sure what I'm
Okay.
gonna do. I'm not sure. I have had a show. Well, actually, I was just gonna do a show, uh, 12, 12, 21. So
Mhm.
back when it was 12, 12, 12, I did the Twisted 12 Days of Christmas. So I like doing, I do shows, cut parties, but I like doing the theatrical part.
Uh-huh.
So the one I did in 2018, was it 2018 was 11, 11, 11, and I did nursery rhymes and fairy tales. So basically, the people who were in the show, they Blackish. So they did nursery rhymes and fairy tales in a Black way,
Okay.
named them different. So that was really fun. And then 12, 12, 12, we had a band and basically they sang the 12 days of Christmas and we did a twisted 12 days of Christmas, like Two Turtle Doves. Someone did When Doves Cry by Prince, the music, so we just kind of did it different. So I like doing those kind of shows too. Theatrical, and those are fun to put together. So
Hmm.
we're thinking we're going to do something 12, 12, 21. So I really got to get that on the books and in the works.
Okay.
So we shall see. After Micheline's show, I'll probably start working on it, and it'll be more like a kind of a Christmas party, cut
Mhm.
party.
Okay. Okay.
And then I may do some education the next day, but it won't be a huge show, but just some specialty classes, maybe a
Mm,
couple of specialty classes.
nice. Okay. Yeah, we definitely have something to look forward to. It's like that sounds like fun.
Mhm.
We could all use a little more fun these days. So
Right, exactly.
yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. So with Impulse Summit, what will you be teaching there?
So I am teaching, yeah, I'm going at a blank. Oh, uh, it's conceive it, construct it, cut it. Yeah.
Mhm.
Conceive it, construct it, cut it.
Okay.
And so what I came up with is that, I've been teaching, hair cutting for a long time, and I try to break it down, trying to get people to really understand and trying to get people to go more technical and to put their own cuts together. So I came up with this is to, when you conceive it, when you think about it, then construct the cut
Hmm.
using the principles and then cut it. So basically what I want to teach is, I have the four uh, habits to highly effective hair cutting. I have the five, I've named different things that I do different cuts or different systems that I've created. So what I want to do is teach people how to create their own systems. If you don't want to use horizontal line, diagonal, then let's do it. I want to help you create it like ABC or 1, 2, 3. I want you to construct your own hair cutting system so that you understand it, but using the technical terms, but create your own. So basically that's what I want to do, is to help people create their own and stop just picking up hair and cutting it, or stop getting lost in the maze. But if you create a system, then it'll be easier for you to remember that system, whether it's a short haircut, a long. Hair cutting is more than just a short haircut to me. I know, it's a short haircut, or it's a bob, or it's a long haircut. But when you use all your technical terms, it goes for all the entire hair cutting system is what I use. So, if you want to call it 1, 2, 3, 4, or if you want to call it A, B, C, D, and you break it down like that, but let's create a system instead of just cutting hair. Mm-hmm. Let's use a systematic approach. Let it be yours. It doesn't have to be mine, but I'm going to help you to create that systematic approach.
Love it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely love it. It's like, that sounds like it will take everybody's cutting to the next level because they get it on a different level.
Right. Just, don't just start picking up the hair, cutting it. Create, I'm going to start at the outer perimeter first, or I'm going to start in the apex first. You create your own system, but make it that systematic approach. Mm-hmm. Well, this is how I'm going to cut this cut, and then I'm going to build another cut, and then I'm going to build another one. So it's really that simple, but we don't know how to put it together. So I want to help them put it together.
Yeah. It's like, I think one of the biggest challenges, I know, like for me, when I started and I started teaching Fabulous Finishes, which was a systematic approach to hair design, because people get lost in the style, or they do, a newer cut, but style it like the old way that they used to style it, and it didn't look new and fresh. And so having that vision in your head, or seeing it on a picture, and then trying to make your hands do it. It's like one of the big things, that I know I had trouble with sometimes. And I know a lot of people that I was teaching, it's like, well, it doesn't look like I thought it was going to look, or like I wanted it to look. And so I think what you're putting together sounds exceptional, to be able to make your hands do what your mind can see.
Right. And to put it on paper, sometimes we think, well, I don't want to, when I first started doing my DVDs, I really learned how to do them from Dudley Products, how to put the haircuts together. But I used everything that we learned in that book and put that haircut together with my horizontal line, or whatever design line I was going to use, or, if it's going to be natural fall, whatever, perpendicular distribution, whatever you're going to use, but put it down on paper. So once I put it on paper, and then you transfer it, to the head. But you got to understand it on paper first. So when I first started doing my DVDs, I would write out the entire thing, and because it helped me to stay on track. And then if that didn't work, then I erased that and I put this. You got to construct it first on paper and then put it on the head. It helps to simplify it.
That's gold. Yeah, that's really good. So I love that. So it's like, we'll wrap everything up, but tell us, like, who inspires you, and maybe what's the best advice you've been given through the years?
Who inspires me, and who's inspired me, I guess, through the years. I believe in hard work and perseverance. And I've seen so many people do that. I even look at Oprah and how she has persevered no matter what. She keeps going. She inspires me. Martin Luther, of course, inspired me, because no matter what they brought at him, he kept going. In more present day, Mr. Dudley inspires me. He kept going. It didn't matter, and one of the things that he always said, he said, don't let anybody else make you have a bad day. He was walking down the street one time in Chicago, and these guys passed him, the white guys passed him in a truck, and they was like, hey, nigga. And he was like, hey, you could easily get mad,
Right.
but that's not going to change my day. Just because you said what you thought was derogatory to me, it's not going to change my day, or it's not going to make me feel bad. whatever, if that's what you think and that's what you feel, fine. I'm going to still be me. I'm not going to let something that happened in the day deter me. You know, Barry Fletcher inspires me. You know, Patrick Bradley, just, even though we worked together, just all the things that he's done and continue to do in this industry, he inspires me. I'm just inspired by, some of my siblings, inspired by, I have a girlfriend that has cancer and it's been in the fourth stage for a very long time. She inspires me, even though it's been 2011 and she keeps going. She keeps having faith and keeps living, and she inspires me to keep going, to not complain about the little things, but keep going. So, it's just so many things and so many people around me definitely inspire me to keep going and to keep going in this industry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. It's like, wow, all of that is very powerful. And it sounds like you are intentional about kind of surrounding yourself uh, by all those people and
Yeah.
yeah, and staying focused on their journeys and how they continue to
Right.
persevere. Yeah, yeah. So I love that. So I definitely want to say thank you for being here. It's like tell us how we can stay in touch with you because we want to know about, we'll see all the things from Impulse Summit if they're not already signed up. And then your upcoming event for, what is it, 12/12/21?
Yes.
Yeah. So tell us,
So,
stay in
you know,
contact with you.
look, make sure you catch me on Facebook on Freddie at Freddie J Jones, on Instagram _Freddie J. And so mostly though, that's where my outlets will be. And if you want to contact me, you can contact me, email me. You can go to my website at freddiej.com. So those are ways that you can see me.
Awesome. Okay. We've got the Facebook scrolling on the bottom. So
Okay.
definitely you guys stay in touch, get signed up for a class, get ready to, what was it? Conceive, construct, and cut. And it's
Yeah,
like,
that's it. Conceive it, construct it, cut it.
yeah, yeah. It's like get ready for that because it's like we need to continue to elevate ourselves in this industry and be able to provide professional services so that clients will want to come and keep coming because
Yes.
yeah, they keep looking great. So thank you for all you have done in this industry, all you continue
Thank
to
you.
do in this industry, and just being this great example and this great light for us to move this whole industry forward in a really positive way.
Yes, ma'am. Well, thank you.
Yeah, well, thanks a lot. And thanks everybody for staying tuned, for joining us. Whether you're on YouTube, if you are on YouTube, be sure to subscribe and ring the bell so we can make sure that you don't miss any of the episodes. And also, you can visit beautysuperstars.com/podcast where you can watch, kind of catch up, binge watch some of the ones we've had almost 70 episodes so far. So there's a wealth of information, lots of nuggets, and lots of great stories and inspiration that can really take your career to the next level, no matter what area you're excited about in this industry. So if you'd like to partner with us to further this work, it's like you can visit beautysuperstars.com and look for the red button. And you can also listen to us on your favorite podcast station. So we look forward to seeing you there and having more and more episodes for you to be able to just listen while you take care of everything else in your busy life. So, just wondering if you're scared to raise your prices. I do get that. It's like you may fear that all of your clients will leave. And I want you to know that you can raise your prices without fear or guilt and without losing your clients. And so I want to invite you to the next free webinar, which is called Level Up and Charge What You're Worth. And it will help you use the strategies that top hairstylists are using to attract ideal clients, to keep them, and to increase their income. And so you can sign up for the next class. It's at beautysuperstars.com/level up. So if you're ready to level up and charge what you're worth, it's like be sure to visit. You can get on the wait list and we'll keep you posted with the next class. So again, thank you so much, Freddie J. And we will look forward to seeing you in your travels across the country and doing your virtual virtual training as well. So take great care, everyone. Keep reaching for the stars, and we shall see you next week.
All right. Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.